Hello, in this video we're going to be talking about how to run profitable Facebook ads for your Medspa in 2025. This is going to be a complete guide covering everything from the types of videos and images that you should be running, the offers that you should be presenting in your ads, the copy, everything end to end, as well as the back-end sequences, the texts, the emails that your leads are going to receive once you generate these leads, the landing pages that they're going to get to, the sales process that's going to integrate with your marketing, okay? And this is all about social media advertising. We're talking Facebook, but really it's Facebook and Instagram under Meta, the new platform. And so without further ado, let's dive right in. Why should you listen to me? I have spent over $10 million in ads across a range of products and services, generated millions in revenue. I have worked for one of the biggest marketing agencies in the world and then several smaller ones. So I really understand consumer behavior at a very intimate level. We've worked with over 60 med spas this year alone, generated thousands of qualified booked appointments. And I have personally called and booked hundreds of those appointments with deposits collected out of Meta, so Facebook and Instagram leads. So I think I have a bit of authority to speak about why Facebook and Instagram ads are not dead, not now, not in 2025, or I predict that not in 2026 or 7 even either. And so you're experiencing, chances are, a lack of understanding of the process end to end. And I hate to say, to break this down to you, but with Facebook ads and Instagram ads, the success of these campaigns is only as strong as its weakest link. And so chances are, if you're doing it in-house, you're doing something wrong, or if you've got a marketing agency doing it for you, then they're doing something wrong. And so what we're going to cover in this video is how to run Facebook ads for high-ticket treatment plans. We're not talking just low-ticket discounted services. We don't want to be yet another Groupon. The A to Z in platform setup process is going to be covered in a separate video. I have just decided because it's going to be quite long. I'm going to link it in this video if you're watching this on YouTube, or it's going to be part of the training platform in a separate video of its own. And so here we're going to be talking about how to set yourself up for success, because really, look, there's no point going into the platform, setting up a bunch of ads. That's very simple. The platform changes quite constantly, but the fundamentals stay the same. And so we're going to address those fundamentals, meaning how do you set yourself up for success with the right type of ads, with the right type of offers, and the right types of sales process in order to actually thrive and crush with social media ads. So we're going to be looking at how to create top performing ads, how to craft uniquely differentiated offers, right? We don't want to sound and look just like everyone else. Competition is only getting fiercer. And so differentiation, decommoditization is the key to really succeed. I have thought of a metaphor for this morning. Imagine being on an island, the only man on an island that's full of women, right? How hard do you think that man would have to struggle to find a life partner and to, basically succeed in reproduction? Not hard at all, because he's a scarce resource. Now, flip the script. Imagine there are thousands of men to one woman. It's going to be the exact opposite scenario, right? And so we need to be differentiated. We need to be unique in our approach. How do we do that in order that we are able to collect deposits, so that we get appointments to show up and get patients that upsell into high ticket treatment plans? Really, these things cascade from one another. And so let's dive right in. Why run Facebook ads in the first place? Chances are you're in one of these three scenarios. Ads can be one of the most profitable ways to get new high ticket treatment plans if done correctly. But if you are in a scenario where you've either run them by yourself and gotten no leads, bad leads, leads that didn't book, leads that didn't show up, or you had a marketing agency that did that for you and you experienced the same scenario, or worse, you just hear it from some of your friends, from your colleagues who own med spas and businesses, and you just think this doesn't work anymore. In hindsight, after I present you this entire video, you're going to hopefully realize, after we cover all of the typical troubleshooting sort of thing, that there are really only most common issues. And these are bad creative, weak copy, so the video, the image, or the text that goes with it. The offer is boring, you're not doing sufficient qualification on your leads, or the sales process is incomplete. And all of those things can be addressed. We have solutions for every single one of those. And so what is the alternative? Admit and recognize that competition is fierce. Referrals and word of mouth are unpredictable. They got you here, they won't get you there. That won't take you to the next level. Groupon and ClassPass control the pricing and take huge commissions. Definitely not a good idea. We speak to med spas every day who complain that they've had bad experiences with these two. They have their room, their time and place, but we're not going to go into that now. Posting organically gets no or low reach. Socials don't really reward you for posting on your socials anymore organically, because you need to be spending pay to play. And Google ads are expensive. They're great though for high ticket services, but they're different. It's a different kettle of fish. We'll discuss that in another video. Again, Facebook against Google. You shouldn't be looking at one and discard the other one. They both should have a time and place in your company and in your growth. And so let's dive into the Facebook ads for this one. What does it make to make ads, Facebook ads successful? Like I said, it's only as strong as its weakest link, and we're going to cover this thing from the top all the way down. So you start with paid ads. You run ads on Facebook and Instagram. You generate leads with a new patient intro offer. This can be a sort of package of 3, a combination treatment is what we call it, and it's got a individual unique name. We have a separate video where we discuss offers at large. Again, it's going to be linked and made available, but fundamentally the offer is what drives the leads to fill out a lead form. It's the incentive. Once the lead comes in, you have to call the leads, text the leads, email the leads, and you begin the so-called discovery and qualification process. The point of that is to discover their pain, their desire, their overview the past attempts that they've tried already in order to solve their problem, to achieve their desire, and then explain your solution and ideally position it as different from everything that they've tried before. This process of discovery and qualification is required in order to be able to set an appointment with a deposit, right? You can get away without doing any of these things and still set an appointment, but if you don't collect a deposit, they won't show up. And it's not just that you didn't collect the deposit, it's just that they're not bought into it. The discovery and the gap creation, the creation of gap between pain and desire, is the process that gets leads to emotionally buy in and to believe in the solution that you have to offer to them, okay? And then the text confirmation and text reminders are there to reinforce and remind them to show up. Of course, it's a logistical point. And how do you do that? You can do it with content. You can send them testimonials, before and after results, reviews, first-time guides. Primordially important to be able to send them these before and after results, because most of the times, because of HIPAA compliance, you cannot advertise these things on Facebook. You can't actually, legally speaking, show these before and after. And so you can save them for the back end, for texting and emails, okay? And then finally, you get the appointment in person. They show up because you've collected a deposit, right? And the discovery and qualification begins all over again, except this time you do it a bit more in depth. You go again in depth about the pain, about their desires. What made you take action now? How long has this been an issue? How long have you suffered with these excess inches and unwanted pounds, right? What's that stopping you from doing? And so on and so forth. What would you like your life to look like? How much would you like to lose? What is your ideal weight? And so on and so forth. Again, overview their past attempts. What have you done before? Dieting and exercise. How long? How did that work? Why did it work? Why did it not work? Why? Because that equips you with the ammo to then pitch your treatment plan. And then you pitch your treatments as vastly different from what they've tried before. Unlike dieting and exercise, which shrink fat cells, we basically destroy them. And then that is permanent. That is pitching as opposed to what they've already tried, so that they feel like now they have a real shot at success because they're trying a completely new and different approach. And then finally, the holy grail, the package deals. You pitch them your package treatments based on what's good for them, based on the treatment plan that's going to get them to achieve the best results. And you have a bunch of methodologies in order to close that. A/B close in cash, meaning you give them a high treatment, a high package treatment, a lower package treatment. The high one serves as an anchor, positioned against the lower one seems like the better deal. That's the one that you ultimately want them to book. Or you try a 2-pay where they pay 50% upfront, 50% later. Or you do finance, Cherry, Credit, Verity, all kinds of finance available, absolutely required in this day and age. A lot of people will absolutely go for finance, especially when they can break it out in 12, 24 or more monthly payments. It'll be a no-brainer. If they are tied down to the process, if they're convinced that this is the right solution for them, if they have been properly, thoroughly discovered, and if they think that this is the right solution for them, they will close with finance. And so there is no reason why 40 to 50% of people that come through your door shouldn't upsell into high-ticket packages, okay? And so 3 of the most common problems: if you don't do enough follow-up over the phone, over texts, you will get no or low phone pickups, so not enough conversation in the first place. And that's where people say leads are bad, they don't pick up the phone, okay? If we don't do phone qualification, once they pick up the phone, then we're not going to be able to get a deposit. Then they're not going to show up. We're going to say these leads are unserious, they're tire kickers, they don't show, okay? And if we don't do enough confirmations, reminders, content, again, they might not show because they don't remember the appointment in the first place, or that they're not convinced that it's the right thing. Once they book, they have that buyer's remorse. They start thinking of a million reasons why this won't work for them. So again, these three are the three most common issues, and these are the three biggest solutions against them. And so maybe your experience so far has been a bit like, tried running ads, we're at a marketing agency running ads, you got no leads, or you got leads, but then they don't respond, they don't pick up the phone. They obviously consequently don't book appointments. Goes without saying, no deposits are being collected. They don't show. And the conclusion is inevitably that Facebook ads are dead. But really, the next 6 parts are going to be addressing every single one of these things in detail so that this never happens to you again, ever. So part 1 is setting yourself up for success, which fundamentally means looking at who you're going to advertise to, men, women, what age range, what you're going to advertise, what is your offer, where, what is your targeting location, where in your local market you want to target, what zip codes, what streets. We can target, Facebook allows you to target by zip code and even by street level. And there are tools out there, which we have access to, that allow you to look at the average medium income of each street and exclude the ones that are below a certain qualification range in terms of median income, because you know that they won't afford probably your packages even on finance because they don't qualify. There are credit providers that allow finance even for very low credit scores. More on that later. But basically that is a question of where you're targeting in terms of geolocation. And then how, fundamentally, is how are they going to be booking in? Will they achieve... Will they book in through a lead form? Will they book through a landing page? Will they see a video, an image? This is the actual logistics, the methodology of it, which we're going to discuss now. And so all of this really is the research phase. This is the least exciting phase for some, the most exciting one for others who understand how incredibly valuable this is. And the reason for that is that this will enable you to do the most important thing, which is to achieve message market fit, to differentiate with the way you go to market, with your ads, with your offers, with what you're saying in them, so that you are getting the lowest cost per leads, the highest number of qualified leads who actually show up and afford those high ticket packages. So without being said, part 1 is to pick your service. And it must be high ticket, recurring, or both, ideally. It cannot be a low ticket one time because it needs to be able to generate enough to cover the cost that Facebook is taking on their ad spend. It can absolutely be low ticket. The only exception of low ticket is that it needs a lot of volume. So with low ticket, I actually just finished diagnosing an account. Massages, facials for $40, $50, $60, $70, they can work, but those ones are the ones that you're going to be running ads straight into purchasing online. So these high ticket ones will require you to call the leads and to book them in, to educate them, to convert, to qualify them, to explain to them what the service is. These low ticket ones, they should book themselves in. It's not worth your time to book in every $40, $50. And at that price point, people actually book themselves in, which is amazing. I have seen businesses that turn around 5 mil a year, which are doing entirely this, and it's mind blowing. And when we pick the front end offer, we have to think of something that's very profitable, something that has a very high margin and low COGS, no goods incurred, right? So something like microneedling with a very expensive tip, replacement tip, won't work for this. Something like Botox or fillers, when you're buying it very expensively, won't work because you're going to need to offer this at a below or at a very competitive market price, and that's going to eat into your margins severely. The goal of this initial service is not to make you money, but it is to at least keep you break even, right? And examples of that are cryoskin sculpting. These are very good, in the range of $300, $450, because you can then package them with something else, and you can offer them at a price that the market can actually like and accept. And so those are the ones that we like to recommend. We do Botox for the full face as well. We do fillers. We really have advertised every single service on the market, but there are clearly some that are better than others. And so this is kind of like your checklist. If you respect these things, then you should be in the clear. Then you pick your audience. Who has the most painful problem? So who really needs what you're serving? Because if it's a discretionary decision, it's easier to basically procrastinate on it. But if it's a necessity, then people will go ahead with it, right? And who can afford the service? It goes without saying, there has to be someone who can actually afford to pay these high ticket treatments. We spoke about qualification, but also about targeting the right average median income houses. And the point of this is to be polarizing. You want to be for some, but not for all. So if you're saying, hi, everyone, come here and lose weight, that's going to stick way, way, way less than trying to speak to mummies who are 30 plus, who had one kid, who are suffering with mommy tummy pouch, right? We're speaking about a very specific problem to a very specific segment of population in terms of gender, in terms of age, and in terms of the psychographics. So they have kids, they're moms, right? So bad, target men and women together. Better, women aged 25 to 60, great. Moms 35 to 50 who have excess fat and want to get rid of it without dieting and exercise. So we can speak about their problems as well, the things they want to avoid. That's a very specific avatar, we call it, ideal customer profile. Now, this is going to inform you. It's going to inform your ads, your copy, your messages. You're going to call out to them specifically, and they're going to feel like they're being seen. They're listened to, they're heard, they're being called upon. Okay? Then we're going to identify their goals and dream desires, their desired outcomes. Again, it doesn't have to be just superficial. So we're not just talking about problem solving. You want to lose fat. We also want to speak about what do they want to get out of it and why. We're talking about the next level down: confidence, self-esteem, relationships with their loved ones. It can be multiple reasons. It's ideal if it's multiple reasons. The more heads we can tackle this from, the better the result. And what we're going to do in order to achieve and get all of this ammo, we're going to be surveying previous customers. Every time a customer comes in, every time we speak to someone, we're going to really listen into what they say. They're going to start saying things, and it's going to become very obvious what it is that we're trying to extract from there and basically broadcast to everyone. They'll complain about the same things, they'll use the same language oftentimes, and that is exactly the thing we want to take out. So for example, in our experience with body contouring, it's always the belly, the abdomen. They don't like the way they look in photos anymore, or they don't fit in clothes anymore, and they've struggled with it for years. And now they saw the ad and decided that it's finally time to pull the trigger and to do something about it. When it comes to facial aesthetics, we see forehead 99% of the times is what they want to address, wrinkles, then crow's feet, then glabella, and that influences our ads. We do a 3-in-1, we do a free face that targets specifically that, because that's where the biggest problem is, okay? And so an example with sculpting, it's about confidence, it's about reducing fat, it's fitting good clothes, old clothes, look good in photos without surgery, diet, exercise, downtime. Those are typically the biggest ones. And so by opposition, our solution is going to be non-invasive with no downtime, affordable, and no pain. Those are the biggest unique selling points that they care about. And so that is the next point, actually. Identify unique selling points. And those can be about your process, how you actually execute, the values, what you stand for. A lot of med spas don't do this enough, but others do it quite beautifully. They say that they stand for wealth and vitality and holistic approach to health and to well-being, and that they want to empower moms to live their best life and to be a role model for their kids, and so on and so forth. And that is about values, about how you differentiate, which is absolutely crucial. We spoke to a Medspa yesterday who differentiated by offering a double guarantee. They're in a unique position where they have the highest reviews in their market and also the lowest prices. It's an insane way to differentiate, but there are layers and nuances that you can tap on without necessarily being in that position. And those are more about your ethos and what you stand for. And obviously the niche that you're serving. And again, it can be generic. If it's generic, it doesn't polarize, it doesn't stand out, it just gets lost in the sea of advertising, and it doesn't perform. And what you can do about all of these things, really, you can always look in do a bit of market research by looking in the Facebook ads library. I've got an entire video on that. I'll link it. It's available. And basically, this allows you to see what's working right now in your market, nationwide, and with this, you can kind of hack the process a little bit, because now you can just look at it this way. If this works, and it works across all of these places, and it works in my market, where there's smoke, there's fire. So you know that if this is proven, it may be competitive, but at least you know it's proven, and you can put some ad budget into that kind of angle directly. And then you can keep a side one on the side to start ideating and creating your own kind of angles by following all of the steps that are outlined here. But just full knowing that that is going to be taking you a bit more time to test, to develop, to craft ideally. But when it does, it's going to strike gold, because it's going to be completely different from everything else that works in the market. So typically we like to do 80-20% of the ad budgets, or 70-30 in a proven offer that we may see in the library or that we already know works in the state, in the city, because we already have Medspas that we work with there. We run a similar kind of angle. Maybe we put 50-70% of the ad budget in that and the rest of it in ideating against all of these points to start creating the unique identity and brand and go-to-market strategy of the Medspa that is our client. And you should and could be doing the same thing. Next, part 2. This is where we create engaging offers and ads. And in order to understand this, it's important to bring up the know, like, trust trifecta. Fundamentally, it's important to differentiate here between traffic that's coming from referrals, word of mouth, Google ads, something that's hot, warm, right? This is very different. Facebook ads, social media ads, it's cold traffic. It's people who've never seen you before, heard of you before, and so they don't know you, they don't necessarily like you or even trust you. And so this is going to impact on what kind of offers we can make in order to actually get our foot in the door, so to say. The first thing that's not going to work is a free consultation. It's just not a good offer flat out. Why? Because there's no leverage. Unlike referrals and word of mouth, these people don't trust you, don't like you. Why should they give you their time? People understand, even on a subconscious level, that there is no such thing as free. They're paying with opportunity cost. They're taking a risk here on their time, and they're going to come somewhere where they don't know, like, or trust anyone. It doesn't work. It used to work a while ago, 10 years ago maybe, but now it's overused, it's outdated, and it's saturated. So whoever does that sees very high cost per lead, sees very high cost per appointment, and very low show up, because you can't collect a deposit on free appointments. You could put a card on file, but again, because there's not enough buy-in, it's not enough value perceived in it, these don't really work. Okay. And markets are sophisticated, meaning they've seen this offer so much. They've heard it, and it just doesn't seem competitive anymore. They want to get something for their time. And that's actually beneficial to you as well, because free consultations are costly to you, whereas the opposite, which we're doing, is these new patient intro specials. These are an offer so good that they cannot refuse. These are the combination treatments that I mentioned earlier. This is where you basically create a package of 2-3 treatments together, and you give them a unique name that differentiates the offer, and it makes it such that it cannot be compared with anyone else in the market. If it's a glow, I will give you examples right now. Here's some of the bad examples. 50% off. 50% off what exactly? That's why that is a bad deal. There is no absolute value. People don't understand what it's a 50% off. It doesn't work. M-Sculpt, very high ticket. Morpheus, 8, very high ticket. Even if you're going to do it for 400 as opposed to 800. Doesn't really work as well as these other things like 3-in-1 Tighten, Flatten and Sculpt, 199 Cryo Skin with free mini Cryo Skin facial with free consultation, regular 550, now 199. It's a unique name, Tighten, Flatten and Sculpt. It could be all kinds of other names. Look great, feel great, new year, new me, elate, fabulous, etc. Right? As long as it has a unique name, it's harder for people to compare it to something else. And if you give it a twist, if you give it a spin based on how you deliver these services, then you're really going to stand out as unique. The beauty of these treatments, the beauty of this offer is that it's also self-liquidating. The moment you're charging for these initial appointments, like I said before, maybe you're not going to make much profit on these, although if you're finding the services with the highest margin and the lowest cost of goods incurred, you will still make some profit on this as well. But the point of this to at least break you even and get you essentially free consultations. The whole point of this is that it gets you speaking to a patient who has the problem that you are fit and equipped to solve for free or for a slight profit. It's free patient acquisition, whereas with these free consultations, you're off pocket. You pay for marketing, you pay for Facebook ads, you pay with your time. At the end of the day, you have nothing. You only have one person that's coming in and is probably going to ask you a bunch of questions and maybe walk away without buying anything. Whereas here, they already gave you some money. They already gave you a deposit. Now they're going to buy this service, and you can now console them, do the discovery in person, and sell them the high ticket packages, where I said 40 to 50% of people should be able to upsell. Okay. Now, it's super important when it comes to these price points to understand a concept called the point of diminishing returns. The point of diminishing returns is basically when the more you charge on the front end, the higher the cost per lead is going to be, to the point where it doesn't make sense anymore. Because whatever you're going to get extra in that initial price, you're going to lose to Facebook in the cost of advertising, right? It's going to become detrimental. And so let's look at cost per lead, cost per booked appointment, and the number of opportunities you have to upsell on a scenario where you spend $1,000 in ads. So in both cases, you spend $1,000. In one of them, you charge $99. this is actually a pretty clear scenario. We've run the numbers on this a lot of times. And for example, a 249, even 299, they tend to be kind of the same. This is what's going to happen. On the 99, this is what's going to happen. So with a 249, you're basically going to generate about 20 leads. And of those 20 leads, you're going to get 4 bookings, about 1 in 5 books. Of those, 3 are going to kind of show up. And so those are going to get you $600, right? Actually, this was done with a 199. It's the same. It's kind of like a pocket of pricing where you're going to be seeing the same sort of experience. So you're going to get 3 showing up, 600. That's how much you're going to make on the front end. One of them is going to upsell, and now you're basically going to have 1,500 on an average ticket, right? So you now have 600 with 1,500. That's 2,100. That's how much you made by asking for 199 up front. Now, when it comes to a 99, the leads are going to be considerably cheaper. And so you're going to be realistically looking at about 50 leads, of which 10 are going to book. Again, the same ratio, 1 in 5 will book. 8 will show up. Again, roughly the same show up ratio. The amount that you're going to collect here is not going to be 1,600. It's going to be just under 800. We're going to keep it. We're going to say 800 for simplicity. And you're going to be able to generate 3 upsells, same ratio of consults to upsells. So now you're going to be looking at 45 plus 85. That's 53, right? So look at the difference that has made on a seemingly lower price, because you're collecting less on the front end. You think you will collect less, but actually you end up collecting slightly more on the front end and way more in the upsells as well. And I know that the objection here would be that with lower cost leads, they're going to be less qualified and fewer people are going to upsell. And so you might think that these ratios won't hold true, right? Let's assume that that's true. Let's assume that instead of 1 in 5 booking, like here you're going to have maybe 1 in 4 booking, right? 1 in 6, 1 in 7. So let's say you're only going to get, instead of 10, you're going to get 8 bookings. Okay. I'm happy to say 8 will book. Let's say 7 will show up. So you're actually going to collect about 700 instead. Let's be even more pessimistic. Let's say only 6 will show up. You're going to end up collecting 600, okay? And then with 3 upsells, half of these will upsell. You're going to be ending up collecting that 4,500. But even if we're being even more pessimistic here and assume that few of them will upsell because they're less qualified, you'll still get 2 upsells, 2 in 6. And that's going to be 3K, right? And so with that and that, 36. So still, you're in a more advantageous position in scenario B. And these numbers only scale. This concept only scales. You spend 1K, you spend 2K, you spend 3K. The gap here is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. But again, this is a very pessimistic scenario. There's no reason for you to get such low numbers if you have a good sales process and if you have finance in place. There is no reason why you should be getting these numbers. So this is really the realistic place here. And that's what we're trying to make Medspa owners understand. The lady ask for less upfront and have more opportunities to ask for that at the end, on the back end, when people come in, because now they now know you, like you, and trust you. They've come in, they've seen your clinic, they've seen your service providers. They know you're the real deal. They don't just have someone's word on the internet where it's full of scams. That is basically the reason for this. Okay, so with that being said, let's move on. How to create irresistible offers. Really, these are the levers that you can pull. You have bonuses, free consultation, free post-care cream, free other aftercare sort of treatments. You have scarcity, first 12 patients only. It's got to be a limited offer. There's got to be an urgency to it, only this month, only for a period of time. There's got to be a guarantee, some sort of satisfaction, money back guarantee. Now, a lot of people say we don't do guarantees, but here's the thing. You do. You just don't actually verbalize it. You as a service provider will always be offering a guarantee because the client always has the right to ask for a refund, always. And so why not go out there and say it? It's a no-brainer. It's going to increase the confidence in the number of people who will come in through the door because you're willing to put your money where your mouth is. And they know they have that anyway, so might as well leverage it rather. Okay. And then finally, the unique name, Goddess Glow, Slim Supreme, Silky Smooth. it is a lever. It is a powerful tool to make your offer irresistible and differentiated. Now, this is a topic that's very dear to me, how to create the ad, spending so many millions in so many niches and industries. I have seen things that work that defeat any kind of logic. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to challenge the status quo a little bit. I'm going to challenge what people normally say, that oh, you have to run ads that show the price up front, like this one here or that one there. You have to drive with the price, and you can absolutely not do something like this. Let me zoom in a bit so you can see them a bit more. Oh, you shouldn't be doing this because it doesn't really give the bonus up front. It's not really clear what you stand in to get. It's a bit confusing. A confused mind doesn't buy. Oh, you shouldn't really be doing this because there is no price on it. It's confusing. And you should only be doing these ones where you have the price and where the people understand straight away what they get. Look, we've run so many ads and we've tested so many things. Sometimes the results are absolutely surprising. Some of these ads, if I ran a quiz and asked you which ones you think performed best, you wouldn't be able to guess that, because the markets will surprise you. The markets will surprise you. And my advice to you right now is, instead of just assuming that there is a recipe on whether you should have the price displayed or shouldn't, or whether you should have a list or shouldn't, is test against one and another, A/B test them. You shouldn't be spending more than, that is the golden silver lining to this whole thing. You shouldn't need to test more than $10, $20 on one ad in order to know that ad worked. That's what marketing agencies don't tell you, that they make you think that you need to spend hundreds of dollars in order to know if an offer is good. That's not true. The cost to show an ad to 1,000 people is so low when the whole market is, your ideal customer. We're talking about women, for example. You have 300,000 women in your local area. You'll probably spend anywhere between $10 to $20 max to show your ad to 1,000 people. And that is a statistically relevant result. It's enough to show the ad to 1,000 people to know if it worked or not. If you didn't get one lead out of it, two leads out of it, kill it, move on to something else. And that allows you to not assume anything, to not think that there's a recipe on what you should be testing. Test it all. You could spend $50 to $100 to test probably all of the ads that you're seeing right now. And you'd be shocked to see how vastly different the results can be. Okay? So I will never advocate for one format over another ever, because I know that that's just not true. I used to think that these are really bad ads until I worked with a Medspa who built their entire business on just these ads. And they were closing 10, 20,000 in packages every single month on about 1,500 spend, just by letting people come in and call with these incredible prices, because the price is important, the timing is important. This ad is absolutely crushing for Medspa. Tons of these ads are the ones that maybe we thought didn't, and that's fine. That's okay. When you know that you don't need to spend, you can be confident and you can be agile and nimble and go quickly. And that's when you're going to find the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is that you have to test these things. And so let's move on from this, okay? Because I could be talking about this forever. Some of these are actually videos, UGC, user-generated content. User-generated content crushes. Have people come in. If you cannot get your patients to shoot video for you because they're shy, they don't want to show their faces, completely fine. It's not even HIPAA compliant if they don't actually consent to it. Just ask a friend, ask a family member to come in and to get you to film them. And some of these videos were actually shot with friends and family members, and they absolutely exceeded all expectations. They were phenomenal. So don't underestimate the power of video. Don't assume that you need video. You can absolutely do it with images. Again, it's a case of testing both, right? Cool. Part 3. This is where we generate qualified leads. We do it with Facebook Instant Forms, which is one type of ad. This will be shown in the video that's actually showing everything in platform. And so check it out. But really, you have a few options. You can run into an instant form. You can run into a landing page. So basically send them to a website. You can run to Messenger, basically get leads to message you or to call your company. And there are many other optimization options here available, but we're not going to speak about all of them because in our experience, Facebook Instant Forms are actually the better place to start. And the reason for that is that this Facebook form opens up in Facebook as you're scrolling, you're clicking on the ad, you see the form, you give your details, and Facebook likes it because people stay on Facebook. There is a downside to it, and I will tell you more about that in the how to run ads video. But basically, you're going to be potentially testing 2 or 3 of these, and you're going to judge which one you should be doubling down on based on the success of your campaign. And that's going to be measured on your cost per booked appointment, not just your cost per lead, because sometimes you can get very low leads like you would with instant forms, very low cost per lead, but high cost per booked appointment. Why? In some instances, when people fill out an instant form, it comes pre-populated with the name, with the number and the email and their old data. So that's one reason. Or because it's easy for people to fill out that form. Maybe they do it in a haste. They don't even think about it. Maybe their kid has submitted it. We have seen examples of this happening. So that may end up with low leads. You'd think the campaign is good, but the cost per booked appointment ends up being higher than if you tried one of these other ones instead. So always look at the final metric which you care about, which is the cost per booked appointment. And even more so, if you really want to be sophisticated here, cost per upsell, cost per high ticket upsell on the very back end, right? Because that really tells you the whole tale. Cool. Part 4. This is where you book the appointment with deposit. This really starts to tread into sales territory, and we have an entire video on sales and setting. And this is all about your setting process, which is the solution to all of your lead quality problems. I'm going to touch on it lightly here, but you again have the entire video available. Go and watch that. And fundamentally here, you have these big things to keep in mind. Speed to lead, how long it takes you to call a lead once they opt in. Follow-up volume, how many times you call them, how many times you text them, email them. Whether you've done enough discovery gap creation between their pain and desire. And you can do that with a setting script, a proven setting script, and whether you were able to collect the deposit or not. Cool. Step 1, get a response. Step 2, qualify and convert. With step 1, there's a concept here that I'm going to bring up lightly. It's loops of compliance, meaning get people to say yes to small things many times as opposed to say one big yes. That's basically what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to get people to commit to a appointment over the text from the first text. That would mean asking for a big yes up front. No, we do a close-ended questions first, open-ended questions later, okay? So that means we distribute the friction. So instead of going in and say, hey, Jennifer, we want to book you right now. Are you ready? No, we say, is this Jennifer? That's a yes and a no question. Once they say yes to that, the next one can be, here's a before and after photo. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's another close-ended question. After that, we can start discovery and we can open with a, what are you trying to achieve? What body part would you like to treat? Abdomen, legs, thighs. Again, a close, open-ended question-ish because it's a pretty quick response. It's not a yes and a no, but it's a one-word answer, right? And then from there, we can open with how long have you been trying to deal with this? What have you tried before? These are questions with how, what, who, when, where. These are open-ended questions. This is where they're going to have to start giving out a bit more information. And we save these for later on, okay? Again, keep it super conversational and give reasons for each next step, especially when we try to move them from a text to the phone, and we have to get them on the phone. You won't be able to collect deposits over the text, okay? Not for high ticket services. You can do it for massages and facials, $50, $60 range, but even then, those ones you shouldn't even be talking to them. They should be booking themselves in. Really, here we're talking about 99 plus, okay? So keep it conversational and justify each new step. So how does that look like? I have 2 minutes before my next appointment. Can I give you a quick call to find a spot together to book you in? How did we justify that? Well, I have 2 minutes before my next appointment. Can I give you a call to book you in? Another one is, I have 1 minute right now. Can I give you a quick call so we can talk easier? Because you're doing a bit of discovery now over text. It's easier to talk over the phone. And that's when people say, yeah, sure, give me a call. Cool. So what happens when they pick up? You qualify them. You qualify them like this. Problem. Just so we can best help you, what is it exactly that you're dealing with? Goal. Just so we're clear, what does the ideal treatment look like for you? What does the ideal treatment / outcome look like for you? Past attempts. Have you tried something similar in the past? Okay. Have you tried our service in the past? Cool. How soon are you looking to achieve this result? Why now? Why not last year? Why not next year? Okay. And then call to action. Great. I have a couple of minutes. Would a quick minute to call work for you now to get you scheduled? Great. Now, on the actual phone call, you're going to be doing discovery again. You're going to continue to create a gap between the pain and the dream outcome by expanding on the discovery already initiated over text. There's no need to repeat all of that. You can go into a bit more detail because now you have time and you have them hooked and engaged. What is it you're trying to achieve? How long has this been bothering you? What is this stopping you from doing? How is this affecting you? And by the way, guys, you don't need to say these questions word for word, not at all. You need to aim to get the answer to these questions, but how you ask the question is entirely up to you. You want to get the result. So what is it that you're trying to achieve? Okay, so tell me, how many pounds are you looking to lose? Or tell me, are we talking about losing inches on your belly, on your abs, or about everywhere? And then they'll say, yeah, I want to tone my abdomen, I want to tone my thighs, firm for my arms. So you've achieved the answer, which is what is it that you're trying to achieve, but you didn't say it like that. Does that make sense? You have to be conversational. What is it stopping you from doing? Again, conversational. Why do you want to deal with this now? It could be like, oh, interesting. What made you, pull the trigger on this now? And sometimes if they don't really answer much, you can volunteer, you can suggest answers to them. Are we preparing for a special event, a wedding in the family, a birthday maybe? And try and be conversational there as well, right? What have you tried in the past? How did it go? How soon are you looking to achieve the desire? And then you explain your unique selling points. And again, you stay top level. You mostly do it as a way to combat everything they've tried and hasn't worked. And you mostly remind them that these things are beneficial because this, that. Non-invasive, pain-free, cheaper than the alternatives, affordable, no downtime, and so on and so forth. And so one of the last points here to bear in mind is to do temp checks, meaning across the entire explanation of the treatment, you're going to be checking with them again. Are you with me? Does this make sense? Do you have any questions? Okay. And you're going to be doing tie downs. Tie downs mean the moment you're done with your pitch, you're going to be asking them a question, which is, how convinced are you that this is the right solution for you? Or on a 1 to 10, what would you rate this thing? That's a tie down, means it tied them down to the process. They now believe that the treatment is right for them and that you're the right provider to deliver it to them. Why is that important? Because if they give you a number here, a solid yes, a resounding yes, a 10, and then you go into pricing and a deposit, right now you're only collecting deposits, you're still at the phone phase, and they say, oh, I don't get paid till blah, 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 or oh, I can't afford it, or I don't want to pay the deposit, well, then you can basically spin it back to them and say, since this is your goal, since this is your idea, since you're the one who wants to lose weight, and since you said that this is the right solution for you, would you be opposed to us exploring a ... And this is where you give solutions. If we're talking about the deposit, you can say, would you be opposed to me sending you a link so you can pay it on your end? If they say, I don't do deposits over the phone, and then they'll say yes, and then you give them a deposit link, and then you wait until they pay it, and then you basically got them booked in. When they'll be in the clinic, if they're resistant to buying a high ticket treatment, once they're tied in and they said it's a resounding yes and that you're the right provider for them, then again you can use that to generate a win-win, which is in the form of, since this is your goal to lose weight, and since you said that this is the right solution for you, would you be opposed to exploring options here with me? And they'll say yes, and then you can offer them a 2-pay, so 50 upfront, 50 on the back end at a later phase, or you can offer them finance, and then they'll say yes to that because you know now that there is no other objection. There is no other things like, oh, my spouse won't agree with this. Oh, what would my friends think of this? What if this is not the right time? There isn't, because they had the chance to come up with those things when you give them a tie down, when you ask them if this is the right thing for them, if this is like a hell yes for them. And it's way less likely for something like that to crop up now. And we know that it's just logistical, it's just money. And so you solve that and you have them, okay? Okay, and so this is going to sound like this. Sounds like we're going to be able to help you. When would you like to come in? And again, we give them options. This is, again, a time to keep it close-ended. Don't get them thinking too much. Don't get them confused. When is the best time for you to come? Morning or afternoon? Tuesday or Wednesday? 2 p.m. or 4 p.m.? Of course, you want to book them early, because the longer you wait, the longer the lower the rate of show up. Okay? And then in a summary, the 4 goals of the phone qualification are to identify their pain, their desire, overview their past attempts to solve the problem and to achieve the desired outcome, and to be able to position your solution as different to everything they tried before. Cool? Now, part 4 is to get them to show up. In order to do that, you have to collect a deposit. That is the fastest way to turn an unqualified lead into a qualified lead. You get them to have skin in the game. It's not the act of collecting the deposit that gets them qualified, it's the fact that you are able to do it in the first place. So the cash transaction, no matter how small, means that they've already made up their mind. It means that they are convinced and understood that this is the right thing for them. They want to pay for it. How much? 29 to start with, increase to 49 if the shop is below 90%, and even to card on file on payment upfront if lower. You can collect the payment upfront if shop is really bad, or if they book very far in advance, right? Now, Bear in mind that if you do create a gap and if you position your solution as the answer to all of their problems, you will have no problem collecting a deposit. So it's super important. Now, these are the 3 reasons why people don't pay a deposit. They don't trust you. They don't have enough emotional buy-in because there wasn't enough gap created between their pain and desire. They're not emotionally feeling it, and so they'll procrastinate. Do you know when you have to make a decision or you have to do something, a task, and you procrastinate until it gets so painful, the cost of inaction is so painful that you have to do it? That's basically what you want to solve for here proactively. You want to get them to that point almost. And I know that sounds a bit crazy that you want to inflict pain on people, but we're not talking about that. We're just talking about getting people to take action into something that they know that they want and need, and that's beneficial for them. And lack of clarity. A confused mind makes no decision. So if you're confusing, if you're too verbose, if you're too technical, that's just not going to work. So that's why you have to keep it top level, only about the things that they care about. Okay. Then you identify objections and you handle them. How do you do that? You do it with sending them to a landing page, sending them to your Google reviews, sending them to Google My Business, show them before and after of other people just like them. Make it real into their mind so that there's no confusion and that they don't think you're just a scammer online, okay? The next part of that is through gap and discovery. You qualify them, you make it seem like you make it actually such that you are the one qualifying them. You're making sure that they're even right for your solution. You're not just letting anyone and everyone in, okay? And again, keep it simple, non-technical pitch. Explain away their worries and previous unsuccessful attempts. Put their mind at ease. Everything that they've tried before and it hasn't worked has to be explained away in order for them to now be willing to give a shot to something new. For anything logistical, it's important to schedule a courtesy follow-up. If you're not able to collect a deposit, do not send links, and if you do, wait with them until it's paid. Explain to them why. Again, justify every action. You need to give a reason, right? There's a study where someone cuts in front of the queue and they study just cutting in without saying anything, and them cutting in and saying, hey, can I please jump in front of the queue because I need to jump in front of the queue, or because I'm in a rush. A very silly reason, but it works because you justified it. Less pushback, okay, less kickback. And so you have to justify this. You can do it in the form of, hey, just so I'm sure that this link actually works for you. We have had instances where the link hasn't worked. I'm just going to wait with you on the phone here until it's paid, okay? You let me know when, send me a screenshot, and we'll book you in. It'd be way better that way than if you let them book it by themselves. They'll procrastinate. They're not going to do it. Don't let them go without paying that deposit, ideally. Unless there's rare exceptions where you really can't do much about it. And so in those cases, you have to schedule a courtesy follow-up. Don't leave it to chance. Don't just say, oh yeah, I'll call you back later. They won't. You call them. Schedule a courtesy follow-up. Have it in their calendar. Have it in your calendar. Justify it again so we don't miss each other. I'm going to put this time in. And if people say things like, oh yeah, call me after 5 on Tuesday, which is a very generic answer, get their logical brain to engage a bit, because this is a very autopilot response that they kind of use to potentially brush you off. Get their mind to engage a little bit there. Say, oh, okay, cool, 5 o'clock. Is that when you come off work? Would you like me to call at 5? Because I can call you at 5:05. Should I call you at 5:10? Are you going to be driving home? Do you want to talk to me when you drive, or should I call you when you're home? Try and get a firm commitment. They'll start thinking about them, the reasons now, and then they'll give you a good logical fit answer. Bear in mind the deposit is only refundable 24 hours prior to the appointment, and tell them that it goes as credit towards the cost of treatment, so there's no confusion there. And another thing here to mention really quickly is to prevent buyer's remorse. This is what you're going to be doing after you book them in, so that they don't actually come up with all these backwards rationalizations and they no show even if they pay a deposit. They may forget, or they may start thinking about all these other things. So you have to anticipate them, all these frequently asked questions. How long is it going to take? Does it really work? Do I really need it? Is it worth the money? Can I just do it by myself? That's a huge one. People thinking that they can just do it again by themselves, or they can do it cheaper elsewhere. They might think that they won't like the care provider, or they won't like them back. They might get lost logistical. They won't find a place. What if it's closed and no one will let me in? And then they think maybe they can wait till the year after, or they should prioritize their car or their mortgage that's coming in. What if their partners and friends won't like it and they'll judge them for it? You want to anticipate all of these things as much as possible and send them things that make it easier to avoid this. So does it really work? Tons of before and after testimonials. Do I really need it? Tons of case studies of someone who's been happy after they achieved it. Can I do it on my own? Again, show them the mechanism. Explain to them why dieting and exercise doesn't work. They've tried that on their own already. Send them location to them, send them the map, send them landmarks, so that they don't think they're going to be lost. What if the care provider doesn't like me, you can send them a video, a pre-recorded video with a care provider saying hello to them 1 hour prior to the appointment, 1 day prior to the appointment. They're going to see a face, a friendly, happy, smiley face. It's going to help. Send them next steps so they understand. Wear loose clothing, drink plenty of water, don't wear makeup, shave the area if it's laser hair removal. That's also a first-time guide, okay? Logistics already covered, reviews already covered. All of these things play a part in this, okay? You can explain the process lightly in case they're wondering. You don't have to. It's more important to give them case studies to help them paint that dream outcome. And how do you do it? You do it with email, text, social media. That's called a shadow funnel. So basically your stories, your reels, your posts, these people are going to check these things. It's called shadow because you cannot see it directly. You cannot attribute it directly to the lead, but you know that it's happening. So make sure it's in tip-top condition and your website is robust and good as well. Reminders, 24 hours, morning off, 1 hour before in form of text, emails, and you can even call them 1 or 2 hours before the appointment. We call our leads 1 hour before the appointment to make sure that they come. And send a quick video before the appointment, already covered that, automated, just to say hello, smile, and reassure them. Now, finally, part 6 is to upsell into high-ticket treatment plans. We're going to do this very lightly. It's crucial to be able to upsell 20 to 40% of the new patients into high-ticket services because that's where the money really gets made with this approach. We already established that on the front end, you're just breaking even or making a slight profit, just enough to get patients in through the door. You're basically getting free upsell opportunities, but that's where really you make the money. In return, repeat customers. How do you do it? It goes without saying, first impressions really do matter. Have a clean, pleasantly smelling clinic, offer complimentary drinks and nice, warm, welcoming environments. Frame the consultation right at the beginning. Make it clear that there is going to be a discovery and that then you're going to be consulting them based on the right treatment for their dream outcome. Don't make it about you. Don't say we're going to do it so that we find the best package for you. This is not about you. It's about them. We're going to do it so that you find the best solution for what you're trying to achieve here. Okay. And once you do that, once you frame it, you're going to go again into pain, desire, without repeating the things that have already been discussed over text and phone, previous attempts to solve the pain, and you pitch the treatment and you position each of the components of the combination treatment as the solution to the reason why their previous attempts failed. So you know how you said you come off dieting and exercising, you put the weight back on. Well, with cavitation, with cryo, with whatever laser lipo, we're going to be destroying the fat cells so it never comes back again. You know how you said you end up with loose skin? Well, with radiofrequency skin tightening, we tighten that so that you never have any saggy skin ever again. And you know how you didn't know what to do and you felt lost? Well, with our free consultation and our free coaching program, you're always going to know what the next step is so that nothing is left to guesswork and you have confidence that you're heading towards your dream outcome, your dream body with us in your corner, okay? Finally, you incentivize action there and then under the form of a one-time offer or a limited time offer. So buy 5 sessions, get 1 free. You buy 1 body area package, you're going to get another 1 for free. You say you do your abs, we're going to throw in your arms or thighs for free. You can get a membership for 1 month for free, or you can get a $100 voucher towards the next treatment. That's amazing because with this, you basically encourage them to come again to claim that voucher. You get post-care, aftercare creams, and all of these bonuses, you can then move into the close after you've done the tie down. Again, how does it sound? Are you convinced that this is the right thing? Would you like to move forward with this? Awesome. Well, in that case, we have the package A, which is 5K. We have package B, which is 3K. Ideally, you don't even speak about package B until you presented package A and you see if they accept it. Then you can use B as a downsell. You can say, oh, well, in that case, if you can't do the 10 sessions now, what we can do is we can start at 3 sessions, see how you're getting on. And at the end of those 3 sessions, you can go into another one, pay the difference, whatever, right? That's an A-B close. If that works, and then it's about the logistics of financial logistics, you can do a 2-pay, half now, half later. And if that doesn't work, then you can go down to finance. You can try and finance this thing, break it down to as many payments as you need. And really, as a very final last resort, if none of these work for one reason or another, that's when you need to book a follow-up appointment. And it's crucial to book it and to pay it there and then. Don't just leave it to chance. Book it, get them to pay up front, and throw in an additional incentive to unlock a special bonus. Pay now, and I'm going to get you one of these incentives, right? Make it so that they actually have that skin in the game. don't let them walk out without a next step, because life gets in the way. Life then gets in the way, and you'll never have them as a woman as hot as you have them there and then. Okay. And finally, this is a bit more indirectly related. This is the shadow funnel. Remember that there's all these other hidden forces at play that you'll want to consider and bear in mind about your Google reviews, your Facebook reviews, your Yelp, Vagaro, all of these reviews. Your presence here has to be in very good standing order, because people will check it out and they'll want to make sure that they are making the right choice by choosing you as their care provider. So make sure that those are revamped. If you don't have any reviews and you need to get reviews, you can always run a incentive campaign where you basically give people some sort of limited discount or special or a reason for them to go and give you a review. And you can get pretty much 30-40% of your list to give you that review within days if you play that card right. Okay. Your organic socials have to be right. They have to be updated. You have to be posting there regularly. If you're a successful spa, then wouldn't you be expected to have successful case studies and results on a regular basis? Yes. Then if you do, why wouldn't you speak about them publicly and openly? Make sure that your story and your reels always have the latest case studies and success stories. If you need to cover faces, if you need to anonymize data, do it by all means. You don't always have to put before and after photos. Not everyone will be very comfortable doing that. That's fine, especially if it's facial aesthetics, because it's harder to blur those, right? But if you can do body related ones and blur the face, or if you can do face ones and just put video testimonials or a voice testimonial, that's fine. Don't show the before. Chances are they'll be pretty proud with the after. Or just don't show them at all. Just have them speak, have their voice, have a text. All of these things really matter. And then again, your Google My Business and Google Maps, make sure that they are listed and they show up so that people can find you in their local area. Those are the things that are going to play into it. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. This was a bit of a tour de force, but I'm hoping that by seeing this entire process end to end, you'll understand that there is no such thing as bad leads. It's more a case of unqualified leads, or just leads that haven't been treated with the right amount of, so to say, respect when it comes to the sales and setting process. And of course, the ads, the offers matter supreme when we're talking about the number of leads that you're getting in the first place. And really, when we're looking at any of these problems across the entire funnel, we have to be able to understand, instead of thinking about it black and white, jumping to conclusions and discarding the whole thing, throwing the baby with the bathwater, saying ads don't work, be able to diagnose it every step of the way and say it doesn't work because of this, or this particular bit doesn't work. Let's solve that bit, okay? And so the next steps, if you want any sort of help with us, what we can do is we basically can get you anywhere between 20 and 30 booked appointments per month, guaranteed. We can do that entirely for you. If you want, you can book a call with us at this link, medspapatients.com/sauce, where we will be sharing the sauce with you, what works in the market right now and what really you could be doing to get the low-hanging fruit to generate anywhere between 10 and 15K within 1 week of starting with us. We can also discuss any done with you or do it yourself capabilities. If you need any resources from us, get in touch and we shall discuss your case-by-case basis. Until then, rooting for your success. Have a nice one, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.